Hello and welcome to your yoga practice. We're going to start sitting for a few minutes. If you can get yourself sitting comfortably, whatever that looks like, as long as it doesn't involve a slouchy spine. And yeah, use any props that you need to. Chair is also a very valid prop. And if you really don't want to sit for the first few minutes, you could lie down instead or start in something like child's pose. Once you're settled, close the eyes. That's going to help you settle even more. That simple act of closing the eyes tends to be quieting and calming for most people, not everyone. So if closing your eyes doesn't have that effect on you, you could certainly keep them partially open. Perhaps turning your gaze more downwards towards the floor rather than taking in the whole space around you. And begin to simply notice the breathing, just bringing that awareness piece, the observer. And that basic act of bringing the breath from being something happening kind of behind the scenes, happens automatically without us thinking about it. That simple act of bringing the breath to the forefront and being aware of it automatically changes the breathing slightly. So that's fine. That's part of why we want to bring it to the forefront. We breathe all day, every day, without a lot of awareness behind it. A few more breaths here. And you can stay with simple breath awareness or play around with breaking your inhale up into two pieces. So you would inhale halfway full with your air, pause for a second or two. See if you can take another comfortable inhale on top of the first one. Exhale, nice and slow and easy. If you don't want to do the two-part inhale, that's fine. Just continue to breathe with simple awareness. If you break the inhale up into two sections and it feels stressful or causes any anxiety or any signs of tension like pressure in the head or clenching the jaw, then skip the two-part inhale or play around with it, see if you can get it comfortable. We'll do this for about a minute. Four more breaths with that two-part inhale if it's comfortable. One more cycle of breath here. And if you were doing that two-part inhale, release that part of your practice, just go back to normal breathing. And then let's take the arms out to a T. Start to circle the wrists. Notice how your wrists are feeling. Is there any clicking? Reverse direction. Keep breathing with awareness. And then palms of the hands press together, just gently. Elbows lift a little bit if that's okay on the wrists. Take a couple breaths there. Just that gentle pressure with the hands pressing into one another. And release that. Do the opposite. Backs of the hands press together. And this time the elbows are lowering instead of lifting, whatever amount's comfortable. Play around with how high or low you have your hands. Keep it comfortable, no painful wrists here. Release that. Just give the arms and the hands and the wrist a good shake. Okay, from here, come to your hands and knees. And just as a reminder, we are going to do several things on all fours. So if having the palms of the hands on the floor doesn't feel good on your wrists, you could certainly put blocks underneath your forearms and take the weight out of the wrist entirely. So you can decide based on how you're feeling today, which one of those you want. And then the first position actually is just to ease back into child's pose, nice and gentle. Find whatever position of the arms feels good. Maybe you want to stack the hands. Maybe you want the elbows bent. Maybe you want them straight. Perhaps you like wider knees or closer together knees. And take a few breaths here. Three more breaths in child's pose. In child pose, come up to all fours and then lie yourself on your belly. Again, you might stack your hands or your forearms and rest your head. Really get the legs long, lengthening, especially through the front of the hip crease area. Head resting down. Bend both knees just about 90 degrees. And with those bent knees, circle the ankles. Reverse ankle circles. And then with your knees still bent, dorsiflex the ankles. So that means you're pulling the tops of the feet and the toes down towards the shins. And then as you straighten the legs, you push down through the bottoms of the toes, push backwards through the heels, and get your legs really strong, and the kneecaps and the shins will hover just a little bit up off the floor here. Have any sort of arthritis in your toes and you can't do this, that's fine. And then relax the legs. Tops of the feet go flat, really reaching your toes away from the shins, rooting down through the front of the ankles, tops of the feet, and toenails as much as you can. Just take 2 breaths here.
We'll do each of those ankle positions one more time. Bend the knees a little bit, dorsiflex the feet, set the base of the toes down, press back through the heels, feel those strong legs. Should feel kind of like mountain pose in your legs.
Two more breaths. Relax the legs. Tops of the feet go the other way. So you're reaching the toes away from the shins, lengthening through the tops of the ankles, tops of the feet, toes.
Take 2 breaths here. And then lift your head up and pull your hands back underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under. Press up to all fours. Adjust your knees and your hands as needed. And let tops of the feet go flat. We'll do just 4 cows and cats here. Inhale, let the belly dip forward, broaden through the chest, lifting the chin, whatever amount's comfortable. And then exhale, tuck the tail, squeeze through the chest, tuck the chin. And do this 3 more times. Nice and slow. Feel that movement in your spine. Make sure you keep it comfortable. Maybe you need to go slower or keep it smaller if you're getting any discomfort in either direction. 2 more. Okay, and then find a neutral spine so you're not dipping the belly forward or rounding the back towards the ceiling. Tuck the toes under. You push down with your toes and try to float the knees and the shins just a little bit up off the floor. You should feel really strong in your belly and your core and your arms and your legs. Everything's really working to keep you hovered here. And then slowly set the knees back down, tops of the feet flat, and bow back to child's pose. Adjust the knees. Feel free to move the wrists around if you want. Coming up through all fours, lower down to the belly again. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders, palms flat. Once you have the belly down, tops of the feet pressing down into the floor. Touch your forehead to the floor for a second. Then on an inhale, you keep your legs down and you're going to lift the chest, head comes along for the ride. Hover the hands just about an inch or 2 up off the floor. Pause, and then exhale, lower down, tap the forehead, pause. We'll do 3 more of those. Half locust, keep the feet rooting down, inhale, float the chest, head, and hands. Exhale down nice and slow, relax. 2 more, inhale, half locust. Exhale, release. 1 more time, inhale, half locust. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, press through the hands. Go back to that all fours position. And move the hands just a little bit forward. Tuck the toes, float the knees and the shins like you did before. Stay strong in your core. And the knees are going to stay at least partially bent, and you start to press the belly towards the thighs. The hips are going to lift, and you're in a bent knee, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. You can stay down on the knees for puppy pose if that's a better decision for you today. 3 more breaths here. Okay, and then set the knees back down on the floor, lower down to the belly. Rest the head on the hands for a moment. Check in with your breathing. And lift the head slightly, just so you can get your hands out from underneath you and reach your arms back. They can be alongside you, or you could interlace your hands, or you could rest the hands on the buttock area. And then you're going to keep your feet down. It's another half locust, but we're going to hold it. So squeeze the shoulders back, lift the chest, head comes along for the ride. Tops of the feet stay grounding downwards. 4 more breaths. You can always come out early if you need to. 2 more breaths. And lower down, release the hands, place them under the shoulders, press up through all 4s, back to child's pose again. Any arm position, bent or straight, circle the wrist if you need to. Okay, up to all 4s. Tuck the toes under, hands a little bit forward of the shoulders. Get a nice long spine and engage the core, neutral neck. Push down through the toes. Hover the knees for 2 breaths. And then keeping the bent knees, press it back to a bent knee downward dog, really lifting through the tail. You can straighten the legs a little bit more here, as long as that doesn't tip you forward into your arms. A couple more breaths in down dog. Down dog, come out towards plank, set the knees down, lower to the belly. Tops of the feet flat, get the legs long. And from here, prop yourself up into Sphinx pose on your forearms. Forearms and elbows. And then we're gonna do a twisting, side bendy kind of motion here in Sphinx pose. Take your right shoulder and you dip it forward, like you're trying to touch your right shoulder to your left hand, and turn and look over your left shoulder as you do that. And then inhale, back to the center, head to the center, square off the shoulders. Exhale, left shoulder dips forward and down to the right, turn the head to the right, so it's a twist and a little bit of a side body contraction. And inhale back to the center. Alternate sides a few more times on your own. Right shoulder dips, head turns to the left. You can skip the head turning if it doesn't feel good. Inhale, center. Exhale, left shoulder dips. Turn and look back towards your right foot. We'll go side to side one more time, and then we'll hold each of them. Right shoulder dips. Exhale. Inhale, center. Left shoulder dips. Exhale. Inhale, center. Right shoulder dips. Pause and hold for a few breaths. Make sure you didn't tip your pelvis, so you keep your pubic bone grounded into the floor. 2 more breaths. Back to the center. Pause in the center for a full breath in and out. And then take another inhale, and then dip the left shoulder forward and to the right. Look to the right with the head. Take a few breaths. Untwist, lower the head down, pull the hands back under the shoulders, press back up to all 4s. Tuck the toes under. We're going to do that those floating shins for 2 breaths, and then we're going to take it to downward dog again. So push down through your toes, float the knees and the shins, stay strong and long in the torso. And then keeping the knees bent, lengthen the spine, press through the armpits towards downward dog, and then maybe slowly straighten the legs more. Take a few breaths. Okay, and start to roll out to plank, drop the knees. Tops of the feet flat, go back to child's pose. Again, feel free to move your wrists around. Open and close the hands into fists, whatever might feel good, or maybe you don't need to do anything with your wrists. Okay, again, coming out to all fours. Put your blocks underneath your forearms if you need to. Bring your knees closer together in the center and your feet closer together. Get that nice long spine reaching from tailbone to crown of the head. Tuck the right toes under and slide the right foot back on the floor till it's straight. Lift the right leg just a little bit. Sweep it over to the left. Look to the left. Touch the toes down. Open the right side, contract the left side, and then lift the foot, bring everything back to the center, touch the toes back behind you with a straight leg, and then lift the right leg, sweep it to the left, turn the head to the left, open that right side, use your hands to help open the right side body, and then back to center, right toes touch down. We'll do one more and we'll hold it, lift that right leg, sweep it to the left, press down through the toes, contract the left side, broaden the right side, breathe. And then release, take the right knee down. We'll do the other side, left foot slides back, you get that long spine, lift the left leg, sweep it behind you and over off the mat to the right, look to the right, and inhale back to the center. 2 more times, exhale, sweep the left leg to the right, look to the right, contract the right side body, open the left side. Inhale, tap it behind you, neutral spine, and then one more time, go in and hold it. See what you can do with the pressing through the hands to help you open the left side and contract the right side. 3 more breaths. And then lift that left leg, bring it back to the center, widen the knees a comfortable amount, come into another child's pose, move the wrists around, take a few breaths. One more breath in child's pose. In child's pose, come up through all fours and roll down to the belly. You can either do Sphinx pose again, or get your legs long, tops of the feet long, and press your hands into the floor for Cobra pose. So you decide which one of those you do, how high up you lift, should be comfortable for your back. Take a few breaths. Sphinx pose or Cobra pose. You can always go change your mind. Go back down to Sphinx or go up to Cobra. Keep it comfortable for your back. 2 more breaths. Lower down. Press up to all fours. Last thing on all fours. Get your nice long spine from the tail to the crown, engage the belly, and then move your right hand maybe just a little bit in towards the center. And then bend your left elbow, pull the elbow towards the ceiling, push your right hand into the floor, kind of turning your chest to the left. Look like an archer pulling back on a bow and arrow. Take a couple breaths there. You could straighten that left arm up or keep it bent, whichever feels best. A couple more breaths. And then release out of that. Set the left hand down. Re-lengthen the spine, and then start to pull the right hand off the floor. Bend the elbow, pull the elbow towards the ceiling. Press your left hand down. Turn the chest to the right. Take a few breaths. And release the right hand back down. Get your comfortable width between your hands. Tuck the toes. Float the knees. Press back to bent knee down dog. And then straighter legs downward dog. And from here, walk your hands backwards on the mat. So you're in Uttanasana at the back edge. And pause here in Uttanasana. Feel free to move around or hold still. Pedal the feet, sway. Circle the wrists again. Whatever would feel good. A few more breaths in Uttanasana. Okay, take the hands and slide them halfway up the shins. Pause. Exhale, refold. Inhale, sweep the arms wide and all the way up over the head. Pause with the arms up for a couple breaths. Arms down by your sides. Glance down at your feet. Make sure they're about sit bone distance apart, give or take. And from this back of the mat position, just take your left foot, turn it out just a tiny bit, and then step forward with your right foot. Maybe you need to step forward more than once. And come into a warrior one with your arms reaching back. They can be straight and apart or interlaced hands. And take a few breaths here in warrior one. Two more breaths. And then start to straighten the right leg and switch the leg. So I like to step my left foot forward and then bend the knees and take the right foot back. That's one way, but there's another way that works better for you. You're in warrior one, still squaring towards the front edge of the mat. Reach the arms back, apart or interlace. Squeeze through the backside. Check your body, your joints, make sure you're comfortable, check your breathing. Three more breaths. And relax the arms, step forward, you know, towards the front of the mat, shake it all out. And from here, get your feet close together, big toes touching if you can do that comfortably, heels maybe just a little bit apart. Press down through your feet, contract the legs, feel the core start to engage. Maybe take your arms out to a T, get a nice neutral neck position, and then see if you can close your eyes and keep your balance here.
If it feels easy, you could certainly lower your arms back down by the sides, or keep your arms out to a T, or reopen your eyes. Breathing here. You might be feeling some movement happening down in the ankles and the feet to keep you upright with the eyes closed. A few more nice and steady breaths. Also position yourself near a wall or have a chair in front of you if that would be more comfortable for you. And then open the eyes, widen the feet just a little bit, and bend the knees, sink the hips, and any arm position you want to do in fierce pose. They could be up, they could be in cactus arms, they could be out to a T, or something else. Steady breaths here. Are you clenching your teeth or furrowing your forehead or holding your breath? All signs of stress. 2 more. And then hands to the thighs and start to fold forward. Hands slide down the front of the legs, Uttanasana. You decide where your arms end up and how bent or straight your legs become. Pausing here for about 8 breaths. Three more breaths. Okay, inhale, slide the hands up to about knee height, nice long spine. Keep the spine where it is. Exhale, hands to the pelvis. Inhale, rise up, pause it vertical. Take an exhale, and then inhale, squeeze your elbows back, take your hands more towards the buttocks, and then press a little bit forward through the pubic bone, and then pull the pelvis back in line with the rest of you, and do that 2 more times. Press a little bit forward, engage your glutes underneath your hands, draw the pelvis back to neutral, and then 1 more time, pelvis forward, and pull it back to neutral. Okay, you're gonna be facing the short edge of the mat, stepping towards the front. Again, start with those about sit bone distance apart feet. Bend the knees just a little bit. Take your right foot, step it back. Get the heel down and straighten both legs. So you're still squared towards the front of the mat. And then check your back leg. Make sure you're straightening the knee and grounding through little toe side of the foot, outer heel. And then check your front foot, ground through the big toe side, inner heel. And take your arms behind you. You can just rest your hands on your sacrum or your lower back. You could interlace the hands, or you could bend the elbows and grab the wrists or the forearms. Fold forward over the left leg, Intense side stretch. Fold slowly. Keep lengthening through the spine. Make sure your neck stays neutral, so avoid lifting the chin and shortening the neck and looking forward. And don't drop the chin too far forward either, so find the sweet spot. 3 more breaths and intense side stretch. Still aware of keeping the little toe side outer heel of the back foot grounded and the inner heel big toe side of the front foot. Slowly press down through the feet, rise up. Release the arms from behind the back. Step forward, shake it out for a second. Pause, mountain pose for a couple breaths. Bend both knees just a little bit. This time left foot steps back. It stays to the left in line with the left buttock. Straighten both legs. Straighten the back leg, ground through little toe, outer heel. Straighten the front leg as much as you can. Ground through big toe, inner heel. Arms behind you, whatever position you did before. Now start to fold forward slowly over the left leg. Again, check your neck and your spine. Make sure you're not overly rounding anywhere. Two more breaths. Slowly pressing down through the feet, come up. Step forward, shake it out. And let's do another fierce pose here. Bend the knees, any arm position you want to do. Two more deep breaths. Straighten the knees, arms by the sides, shake it out. Okay, next we're gonna do I call it tightrope balance, and then we're gonna rock it forward and back. So get your feet really close together to start with. I suggest arms out to a T. You can always lower them down. You're gonna take your left foot and you step it forward and see if you can line your left foot up with your right foot, as if you were standing on a tightrope. And the closer the left heel is to the right toes, the trickier the balance will be. So you can take a slightly bigger step forward if you need to. If it feels easy, you could lower your arms and see how that feels. Breathe here. You get that pushing down through the feet, drawing in and up through the core and pressing out through the top of the head. Two more breaths here. This is surprisingly difficult, I think. And now we're going to explore a little shifting of the weight. So you shift your weight to your front foot and lift the back heel. And then you shift your weight more into the back leg and lift the front ball of the foot and the toes. Keep both knees a little bit soft. And play around with that forward and backward shifting between the feet. Breathing. Good. Do this two more times, forward and back. If you need something to work on in your yoga practice, you can work on building up to doing this with your eyes closed. It'll take a while though. And then, see, I made some of you fall over just thinking about it. Relax, shake it out. And then pause, couple breaths in mountain pose. Feet close together. Now take your right foot in front of your left foot. As if you're on a tightrope, remember arms out to a T. Put yourself near a wall or a piece of furniture to hold on to if you need to. Press down, squeeze in, and press upwards. Good, breathe. One more breath here. And then you start that forward and backward shifting. Shift your weight to the front foot, lift the back heel a little bit. And then shift your weight to the back foot, lift the front toes. Go forward and back, keep breathing. Keep pressing down and up at the same time. 2 more times. Last one. Okay, again, shake it out, release your tightrope position. Mountain pose for just a couple breaths. Okay, before we finish with kind of a peak standing situation, we're going to come down to the floor briefly for something lying down on the back. So transition yourself carefully down to the ground. And start with both legs out straight. And get a mountain pose feeling to your legs. So that means you're trying to get your kneecaps and your toes facing straight up towards the ceiling. And there's some effort to dorsiflex the feet as if you were standing on the wall that your feet are facing. Arms are by the sides. And then on the inhale, you're going to take both arms up over the head and bring the left knee to the belly. Keep your arms where they are and exhale, straighten that left leg towards the ceiling. It might not get straight. Take a couple breaths here. And then lower the arms, bend the left knee, straighten the left leg on the floor, pause in your reclined mountain pose, check your legs and feet. And then inhale, both arms float up over the head, bend the right knee towards the belly. And then exhale, keep the arms where they are, push the right foot towards the ceiling. Take about 4 or 5 breaths. So you're really pressing through both feet, the leg that's down and the leg that's up. Bend the knee, lower the arms, straighten the right leg on the floor, relax the legs, roll them out and in a few times. Rest for a few breaths in on the floor here. Bend the knees, roll to one side, press up, come all the way back up to standing. We've got one more thing to attempt here. So let me show it to you first. You have a sense of what you're going to be doing, and then that might help you decide whether you need to move yourself near a piece of furniture or grab a chair or whatever you might want to do. So I'm going to do it in the middle of the room. So it starts out similar to what we were just doing on the back. You take both arms up and you bend the left knee towards the belly. You're going to keep the arms up and you're going to kick the leg out. So you could have your hands where you could touch something if you need to. We'll take a couple breaths here. And then you're going to bend the knee, lower the arms, and then you're going to lean forward and kick the leg back behind you like a warrior 3. It doesn't need to be super high. Focus more on keeping the hips level. And we'll repeat it 2 times. You could always touch the foot down as you go between the positions. So start with your feet close together, really press down and up, get strong through the core. Shift your weight to your right foot, both arms up, left thigh towards the belly. Keep that foot as low as you need to, and then kick the left leg more straight out in front. Rebend the left knee as you lower the arms, and then you lean the torso forward a little bit and you really kick that left leg back behind you. Straight leg, level hips.
Contract the back, lengthen the neck. And then rebend the left knee, tap the toes down if you need to. Bring the knee up towards the belly, reach the arms over the head. Stay there, kick the foot out. If this feels hard, it is hard. Bend the knee, lower the arms. Lean forward, press that left leg back. You can rest the toes on the floor if you want. One more time, start to come up. Tap the left foot down if you want. Bring the arms up, lift the left knee. You can keep the toes on the floor here. Straighten the left leg. Bend the knee, lower the arms by the sides, and then lean the torso forward. Kick the leg back or rest the toes on the floor with the leg behind. And then relax, mountain pose, give it a good shake. It's exhausting. And in that sequence, both legs are really working. The standing leg is really working, obviously, to stabilize and keep you balanced. That lifted leg is really working too. Okay, feet close together. Just take a couple breaths here before we do the other side. Remember, most of us have pretty big differences from side to side with balance and mobility. Shift your weight to the left leg, keep the knee a little bit soft. Inhale, both arms up, right knee to the belly. Pause, breathe. Keep the arms up, kick the right foot out. Leg as straight as you can get it, might not get straight. Bend the right knee, lower the arms by the sides, and then start to kick the leg behind you, tip forward. Remember, you can keep the foot touching the floor. Reach the crown of the head away from that right foot. Bend the right knee, tap the toes down if you need to. Both arms up, right thigh back up to the belly. Kick the right leg out, pause. Bend the right knee, arms down by the pelvis. Kick the leg back, lean forward, reach back through the arms, pause. And then one more time. Start to come up, right thigh up, arms up. Press out through the right leg. Bend the right knee, arms down. Lean forward, press back through the right leg. Pause for 2 breaths. And relax, shake it out. Okay, fun stuff. All right, go ahead and fold forward, step back, and let's enjoy child's pose. If child's pose isn't enjoyable and you'd rather lie on your back and draw the knees to the belly, that's certainly an option. Relaxing in child's pose, any arm position. You could hold still, you could move a little bit if you want to. Two more breaths. Okay, come up to all fours and lower yourself down on your belly. Get the legs long, tops of the feet flat. And then 2 choices, same 2 choices you had earlier in class. You could prop yourself on your elbows and forearms in Sphinx, or you can press your palms into the floor and come into Cobra. You decide. Notice if your mobility is any different here near the end. About 3 or 4 more breaths here. One more breath. Lower down. Rest the head on the hands or the floor or the forearms. And bend the knees just till the shins are about vertical, and then circle the ankles. We did this earlier. Reverse the circle. And then stop the ankle movement. Keep those shins about vertical. And then you're gonna let both feet go to the left. It's like windshield wipers, but lying on your belly. And then knees come through the center and both feet go to the right. So you're windshield wipering the feet side to side. You might feel how that rolls your pelvis a bit. One more each side. Okay, straighten the legs, relax, take 5 breaths here, lying on the belly, just relaxed. Okay, from here, press yourself up. Swing your hips back to the mat and lie down on your back. Pay attention to how you transition. Bent knees, feet flat, arms out away from the sides of the body. Take just 3 breaths here, and then we'll do one more section of positions for the legs. So make sure your heels aren't too close to the buttocks. If you're one of those people that can really get your heels close to the buttocks, move your feet, probably at least a foot away from the buttocks. Lift your left foot up off the floor just a little bit, and then you start to take the left foot behind the right foot, shimmy it towards the right edge of the mat, and then let the left knee start to fall towards the mat. You're resting on the left edge of the left foot. An option here would be to put a block underneath the outside of that left knee for some support if this feels too intense or is bothering your hip. If it's bothering your left knee, then move your right foot further away from your buttock and don't bend the left knee as much. Take a few breaths here. Left leg stays where it is, right leg, move it slowly. Right thigh starts to draw in towards the belly. Hold on to either the back of the thigh with the hands or the shin. Take a few breaths here. Notice where you're feeling sensation. Make sure it's not in a joint. Keep your right hand holding on to the right leg, release the left arm back out to the floor, and then start to open that right knee a bit more out to the right. And you're pulling it up towards the right shoulder area at the same time. So the right knee opens out and pulls up towards the head at the same time. That might have moved the stretch a bit more into the inner thighs. Take a couple more breaths. And bring that right leg back to the center. Set the right foot down on the floor. Pull that left leg out. Straighten both legs on the floor. Roll them. And relax the legs. Find stillness for about 3 breaths. Notice kind of the after effects of that pose. Starting with the other side, bend both knees. Remember, don't bend the knees too much that the heels are too close to the buttocks. Left foot stays approximately where it is. Move it out of the way if you need to. And then take your right foot behind your left heel, shimmy it over towards the left edge of the mat, and then rest on the outer edge of the foot and let that right knee start to open down towards the floor. Remember, support that right outer knee with a blanket or a pillow or a block. Make sure your right knee's comfortable, that you haven't bend it too much. You might get some pain in the knee. Never want pain in the knee. Okay, right leg stays where it is. Left thigh starts to come towards the belly. Hold on to the leg with both hands for a few breaths. Notice how moving the left leg affected the right leg. How's your breathing? Can you relax your face and jaw? Okay, last position here in this section. Release the right hand out to the floor. Use your left hand to guide the left knee out to the side and up towards the left armpit at the same time. Notice how this side feels compared to the first side. I'm feeling in a totally different area on this side. Three more breaths. Okay, bring that left knee back to the center. Set the left foot down on the floor. Pull the right leg out. Straighten the legs. Roll them. And then you decide what might be the best final movement for you, whether that's circles, knees to the belly, or happy baby, or maybe you want to do a few windshield wipers with the knees. Or maybe there's something else your body's telling you want to do. So about a minute doing whatever your body needs in preparation for shavasana. And when you're ready, start to position yourself for shavasana. Make sure you're comfortable. So if you're not, maybe you need to put something behind the knees. Maybe you need to lie on your side instead of your back. Maybe you need some other sort of prop situation. So don't just assume the position that you arrive in is the best one for you. Get into a position and then really scan yourself and see if where you've landed is really what you need right now. Because if it's not what you need right now, then it's not what you need right now. You need something different. And continue to settle and fidget your way into a relaxed place. Check your hips and your knees and your ankles, feet and toes, and let go of any tension or discomfort in that area by repositioning. And then check your shoulder blades, shoulders, arms, elbows, wrists, hands, and fingers. Again, find a way that that whole line from shoulder blades to shoulders out to the fingers can be soft and relaxed. And then check in with your torso and your spine, especially your lumbar spine and your neck. And is there any discomfort anywhere in your back that maybe is telling you to reposition yourself slightly? And then finally, soften through the forehead, jaw, and lips. Feel the points of contact with your body and the floor and your props. Become aware of your breathing. Feel your hands and your feet. We start some movement in those areas. You need to do some more movement with the legs and or the arms. Eventually bending the knees, rolling to the side. Support the head. Spend a few breaths here. And press yourself up.
Definitely a mix of strength and mobility today. All that stuff on all fours with the floating the knees and the locust poses and stuff. That's all core strengthening work in addition to mobility work. So, and plus all that peak balancing sequence we did has a lot to do with strength and mobility as well. So hopefully you enjoyed the interplay of those two things. Namaste.